Hi, welcome to the JALTCALL podcast. I'm your host for the day, Brian Gallagher, and I'm joined by Geoff Carr.
Hey, everybody.
And Luc Goujon.
Hey, bonjour, everybody.
And Robert Rimmerswal.
Hello, what's up?
So today we're going to be talking about the 2025 JALTCALL conference presentations. And so we want to try and give thanks to everybody who came to the conference, both presenters and participants. Today we're going to have a quick summary of the participants and the presenters that came and joined us in Tokyo. We are going to talk about some of our favorites, including some of the workshops, the posters, the presentations, and also some of the other highlights of it. Then in part 3, we're going to try and talk about some of the upcoming stuff that's on the horizon for us. And of course, we're going to have a recommendation of the month for you there. Right, so let's kick it off. The JALTCALL 2025 conference was held at Tokyo University of Science with our wonderful site chair, Michael Hoffmeyer. How many participants were there at the conference? Well, in total, we had 286 participants. And from those 286, it's quite a good number. So we had 15 workshops. We had 129 presentations. We had 26 poster presentations. We had 2 forums. We had professional childcare service. We had full hospitality. We had sponsors. And of course, now we are accepting submissions for the post-conference special edition of Trends 2025. The 2024 Trends inaugural edition will be going soon live through Castledown. Of course, that is open source and very easily citable.
And we'll put the information on the JALTCALL website in the publication page when it's available.
Right, okay. And also, you'll be able to see some of that data. As everybody, well, maybe not everybody knows, I have now become the president of JALTCALL. So
congratulations.
Thank you. So I will be putting out a presidential message or a message from the president to try to explain that summary. So have a look for that on the jaltcall.org website. Right, so conference-wise, so how
Brian,
many members?
Could I pipe in with a question here?
Go ahead.
What, in fact, is the difference between a presidential message and a message from the president?
President, I think a presidential message should sound quite fancy, whereas a message from the president is just a message, right? Yeah.
All right.
To be presidential, I don't know. I guess in this modern climate, we often use it. This is unprecedented, and this is presidential. Yes, I think there's maybe some confusion of what should be presidential. What is the expected standard of a president? But of course, I will try to maintain at all times the highest expected standard and hopefully go beyond the highest expected standard.
Those European standards.
And we appreciate that.
We appreciate it.
Trying to say, what's the difference between an A and an A plus? So an A is the highest expected standard. You know, like an A plus is when you go beyond.
Exceed.
When you exceed, yeah. Excellence. Indeed.
Well, thank you very much for your clarification, Mr. President.
So back to the people who came. So quite a number of people came through with the early bird. So obviously there's a little bit of saving for that. I would like to thank those people because that helps us get most of our preparation done for making the conference happen. And as far as people coming, there was quite a large number of people were brand new to JALTCALL. It was actually their first time to come.
Yep. We're always happy to see new people coming in with new ideas, new presentations, new research to help us to understand what's going on in the world of call, not only in Japan, but in other parts of the world.
And if you're listening to this and you're curious about JALTCALL, you should definitely come to the conference next year.
Yeah, so round about a third of the people who came to who responded to our survey that was put out post conference. So round about a third of the people who were coming were coming for the first time, and of that, round about a quarter of the people actually from overseas. So thank you very much to those people, and we're really looking forward to having you back again. Yeah, so hopefully there'll be more people coming, repeat attendees. So yeah, that information will go out onto our website. There'll be links in the descriptions for today's show as well, so you can have a look at the summary of all of the participants, and also the links to the trends post-conference special edition.
Great.
Right, okay, that's us for section 1. We're going to move on now to section 2. Join us after the break. This podcast is sponsored by Ego AI. AI is here to assist and enhance human-centric language learning and teaching, not replace or negate it. Established theories remain relevant in guiding practice. Learners need comprehensible input, meaningful output and interaction, fluency practice, and feedback. Ego AI helps students reach the recommended 2,500 plus hours of intentional study with a comprehensive library of AI-generated, human proofread lessons and activities, allowing them to develop all 4 skills while providing teachers with essential insights into student progress. Ego AI. Visit Ego AI today. Hi, welcome back to the JALTCALL podcast. This is section 2, and we're going to be talking about our conference favorites. So, gentlemen, I'd like you to give me a little bit of your favorites for the keynotes, the workshops, the posters, presentations, and any other kind of thing that stood out to you. Geoff, can you give us some of yours?
Sure. Thanks, Brian. I would like to highlight both the keynotes. Glenn Stockwell, who's formerly the longtime editor of the JALTCALL Journal, gave an exceptionally well-received keynote on Sunday morning, in which he asked why AI is threatening as a way to begin talking about how AI can help us and AI can hurt us, and how we need to adopt new ways of thinking for self-directed professional development in language teaching in this AI era. A couple of the things that he mentioned that were really most interesting to me were how AI adds new instability in ethics assessment and autonomy. He asked people to think about what the complementary role is for teachers plus technology. When are teachers the primary? When do we have to take a complementary role with that? And he finished off with a truly excellent professional development checklist, which is going to be part of one of his upcoming publications. And I'd encourage anyone who was at the keynote to go back and look at that. It really prompted me to think in many, many ways, and I'm going to be using that with my seminar students. And then Matthias Schulze gave a keynote on Saturday, and he asked some questions that were tremendously interesting to me. He asked these things here. He mentioned who has agency, what is authentic, what are language and communication, and what counts as language and learning. And that last one in particular got me thinking, it's a bit of an odd question. How do we quantify that? He went into discussing the key distinction in thinking about authenticity being that human action is intentional, machine action is conditional. And one of his major points in finishing up was discussing the fact that language proficiency is a big collection of measures, right? The distance between complexity, accuracy, and fluency is sort of the space that we could use there. And his point was that accuracy has been overemphasized in assessment. I thought that was a very thought-provoking point, and there were people discussing that after his presentation.
Mm.
Other than the keynotes, sorry, did you have something there, Brian?
No, I was going to say that. So Bradley, our publicity officer, was saying that after his speech, that there was a huge amount of chatter on the social channels, people having like similar opinions, and of course there was other opinions too. Going back to Glenn Stockwell, so something that Glenn said about having our kind of like basically our digital portfolio is something that really stuck with me, because I have my own digital portfolio which I try to keep up to date. Most people use ResearchGate or ResearchMap or Academia, or I think there's some other services as well. But normally in Japan, your university asks you to maintain the research map.
Right.
Map, yes.
I think that was the last point on his checklist, wasn't it? He encouraged people to track your progress with a professional development portfolio online with all different kinds of elements.
So I think, like one thing that I specifically remember is Glenn saying, like, do it from the very start. Like, don't wait until, like you feel that you've got, like a whole lot of stuff built up. He was saying, like, record it like as you go. And then that way, you can see your individual progress, like, which is great for self-reflection, like, how am I actually getting better? Like, I think probably pop stars, like, go back to their first song and they go like, oh no, that was so awful, like, because they've matured like so much afterwards. Or, like, they kind of realize like, hey, wow, we really hit it hot, like.
Yeah, but that's the real measure of achievement, isn't it? Right there.
Yeah.
You have accomplished something.
Yeah.
It is. That's really important advice, man.
And there are tools that you can use to basically map your knowledge, such as Obsidian or Notion or Logseek. If you use these journals, you can basically search your own knowledge.
Obsidian's like a kind of replacement for Evernote, is it? Or a kind of like
sort of, yeah.
Yeah, I saw Mark. Was it Mark Ryan? That he said that was his new thing. He said Obsidian. I just downloaded it this month, so I'm gonna have a look at that. But yeah, it'd be good to not have to look through all the notes myself and think about myself, just to say, AI, please help me like summarize it.
And it will also draw a graph between your different knowledge and create cards between different topics if you put tags in them. So it's quite interesting. You can sometimes see ideas like emerge from the notes that you take.
Oh,
so
like
it's sort of a concept mapping?
Yeah, exactly. It will allow you to see the patterns of thinking and the patterns of tags that you put in, and you can do it through time. So it's very interesting. So
I would be afraid that it would see some really, really big holes in the patterns of my thinking.
It's also
whatever you feed it, right?
It's whatever you feed it, yeah.
Not
so that's what you want to see, right? You want to see like where are the holes and where are the peaks and troughs, like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we're mixing so many analogies.
Mixed metaphors are us.
Analogies, metaphors.
One thing, Luke, that if I were to take up use of Obsidian, I would have wanted to put in would be really the only presentation other than a keynote that I got to see at the conference, because we're all so busy, was Takako Aikawa, who was our keynote speaker last year. And she presented on a project that she's doing in the MIT Japanese language program. She calls fluid language pedagogy. She began it in the spring of this year, just a very small pilot, and she's experimenting with the idea of creating customized AIs that essentially function as TAs for students. And the students do a lot of independent study with those AIs, and then they have a once weekly live meeting or Zoom meeting with the professor or with human TAs as well. Fascinating stuff that she's doing. She talked about the successes and failures of it, and her beginning point where she started the entire presentation was with the concept of productive failure and productive struggle being necessary as concepts. And how can we do that with a TA, for example, that like these models, these AI models we have now, might not have that programmed into it. In fact, it might be programmed to avoid student failure. So it was extremely interesting, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what this develops into next year, because Takako
She's
fully plans to come back.
she's using Notebook LM, right?
Yes, Notebook LM was one of the things that she was doing, but she also wrote or had some customized LLMs written for each year level. She used Notebook LM and OpenAI custom GPTs in the program. Yeah,
I think that
that's right.
Notebook LM is a incredible system. You know, like even we were talking
Definitely.
like away from the conference
Mhm.
about how I even just made a picture book for my children, you know, like a bedtime story, and I was thinking like it's just amazing. And then Geoff, you said look, they're doing video as well.
It does.
Yes, it can do video now, right? You have the podcasts. It was able to do for, I want to say, more than half a year, and now it
Right.
can create video presentations of the content.
I
It's
fed
astounding.
four Japanese academic paper written in Japanese, and it spit out a video with slides in English explaining to me the four academic paper I fed it.
It's brilliant.
So it's brilliant.
It's brilliant.
That is amazing.
All this stuff's great. Right. Okay. Let's crack on. So there were workshops. So as I mentioned before in part one, we had 15 workshops, and I want to put special praise on Gordon Wilson at Hannan University in Osaka. So he did a great workshop. I actually had seen his workshop before in Okinawa last year. So he very unconservatively entitled it "Building Our Replacements." So it was an AI-driven personal kind of like anytime, anywhere language teaching expert system. So basically, he co-presented with his AI. So he had a microphone speaker, and he just did it live, and it's an incredible thing. And I've played with it myself, and so he not only described his research, like he demonstrated, as you would think is in a workshop, you know, like but he's doing some really good stuff there, really inspiring, really kind of like open, and the he did maybe 3 different types of sections to the workshop, which was really good and structure wise, you know, like so everybody could get a shot, just a QR code, bam, everybody could do it straight away. And the first one was using an AI chatbot which had 2 voices. One was male, one was female, and it didn't sound robotic at all. It sounded really authentic, and very natural, and it was incredible. And he was just literally just having a conversation, and it was just bouncing ideas. So yeah, I'm going to try and interview Gordon in the next week or so. Hopefully, we'll have him on the podcast actually demonstrating that. So
Nice.
yeah, that was one of the great workshops. So of course there were 15 workshops in total. So there's too many for us to mention all of them. But posters wise, we had 26 posters, which was great. We had it in a lovely area, and it was quite crowded at the poster session, which is a great problem to have. You know, like there are so many people there. Of course,
And lots of traffic.
yeah, lots of traffic and lots of chatter.
In a good
So
way.
Well, everybody was attracted by the excellent food that we
the
had
catering,
available.
Exactly.
The
And I love
cake,
my
the
Costco.
sweets, the fresh fruit. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So that it was good to see so many people had some really well made posters with lots of QR codes and lots of links. So although it's is a physical item, there's still it's easy for people to quickly like link with each other and get advice. But so I've got a few favorites from the posters that I want to throw out there. So Mehrasa Alizadeh, who has been with JALTCALL, like for several years. Of course, she broke off and started the Maver SIG with Eric Hawkinson and others. So she did a very well presented poster presentation. So hers was on creating interactive media to promote intercultural exchange. And I thought, I've seen poster presenters before, and basically people just kind of like chatted and pointed or stood back and then maybe answered questions. But I like the way that she did her presentation. So she said, let me begin. And she talked through the poster from section to section. She took questions on the fly. And
Nice.
probably there was only about, like, at that moment, there was maybe 4 of us hearing it. And of course, they're surrounded by others. But she was really clear, very professional. So Mehrasa Alizadeh, but we'll put the links into the notes for today. 2 other ones. So there was a great one by one of our Chinese speakers, Yan Deng. So hers was on leveraging AI tools to develop teaching materials for an ESAP module in engineering education. So, of course, I get this idea that most of the Chinese universities or Chinese-speaking universities, they usually have quite a lot of students. Like in our universities, like my university, there's quite a small number. It's more personalised, the teaching. But her survey, she had a module that enrolled over 600 students, with 120 of them being directly taught by the presenter in the groups. And they do that with, in groups of 20 each. And her focus was on utilizing AI technologies such as ChatGPT or DeepSeek. So their university is actually is Xi'an Jiaotong Liverpool Dashway, or which is basically it's Liverpool University in England have a division in Xi'an, which is of course in Western China. And so it's good to see, like the Sino-British institution doing that, because a lot of people say, like, I graduated from Liverpool University, and say, like, oh really? Oh, but it was the Chinese one. But it's a great opportunity, because people can get that same qualification. And so, of course, it was on English for specific academic purposes. So it's good to see something that's kind of tailored like that. And it was good to see that that study was done with DeepSeek and ChatGPT. So that gave me a kind of like a wee look into what they're using in China. So that was a good one. And Clare Kaneko, she also she did one on digital literacy, which is something that we talked about before in a previous podcast. Digital competence, digital confidence as well. So hers was an overview on bots and video editing, podcasting, and programming. So yeah, that was good. It was good to see Clare Kaneko is also on the. Is she on the board of directors for JALT?
She's the
She's the
president.
president of JALT. Yes.
Right. So I guess now we can speak president to president. But yeah, Claire was really lovely and very very good to talk to. So yeah, they were my kind of like 3 from the posters. You guys want to talk about some of the presentations that you maybe saw?
Yeah. So one interesting thing a colleague of mine actually told me from a presentation he attended was that students who were speaking to AI bots became more confident or less anxious speaking to AI, but no less confident speaking to humans. Which is very encouraging, because my research focus is all on virtual exchange, and those are the presentations I went to. And for the last year or so, I've been wondering about that and wanting to look into that once I finish up my own experiments. Is AI better than using virtual exchange? Because it's definitely a lot easier. Virtual exchanges are a lot of work to put together, a lot of moving pieces. So to hear that, at least in this initial study, I'm sure a lot more is going to come out, that it isn't, made me happy that my efforts aren't being wasted. That because in my own case, when my students spoke to humans just for 5 minutes, their anxiety thinking about speaking to humans again was much lower. At least statistically significantly lower. Much is kind of subjective.
Yeah,
So seeing, yep.
Oh, I was just going to say that's mirrored with what I've seen. I don't have a specific virtual exchange program like you do, Rob. Rather, I use interns from Australian universities in
Nice.
small sessions with my students. And the feedback, I take a response survey after each semester, and what I've gotten back from students, it reflects exactly what you just mentioned. They feel much more confident. They are confident in their ability to speak. They feel their skills have increased. It's just overall a great positive. So yeah, I really understand what you're saying there.
There's a student at Tokyo Tech who's doing research on speaking to avatar and speaking to real people online. And she's measuring the stress level by putting galvanic response sensors on the fingers of the students. That measures the stress level. Our result is not out yet, but as soon as we get some result, I'll be happy to share with you guys. It's an interesting way to do it. It's a little bit like the same technology they're using for polygraph. Very similar.
I think with that, as AI gets better in these, it gets harder and harder to tell the difference between a human speaking and AI speaking. If you told someone that it's a real person, they might see more benefit.
She's using
than
very
if they didn't know.
not realistic avatars, like a
But
little bit like
I
anime
can also
avatars.
I can also use those, and I'm human. Avatars are
True.
available for everyone. So if you just said, "Hey, these are people behind avatars. They don't want to share who they are," so I would want to see an experiment where people know and where people don't know, and see if that affects it in any way. But back to the conference. I know there's a lot about AI, and that's probably the trend in the future. Is not AI itself, but AI for specific purposes that we'll be looking at. But there was still a lot on just virtual exchanges. We had a lot of Taiwan, Thai. We had some people from Germany. We even had students come and present their own findings from their own virtual exchanges. So I thought that was very, very cool. The other thing with getting kind of that, bridging that virtual gap is VR. So kind of similar idea, Kazuaki Nakazawa, he did VR in his CLIL-based Japanese courses. He's based in Taiwan, even though teaching Japanese over there. And the only downsides they were saying were that some of the motion sickness and some of just the difficulty using Oculus 2s. And I'm sure with an Oculus 3, that goes down a bit. I'm sure by the time we're at Oculus 7, a lot of those downsides are just going to be gone. So, because the downside is just it's engaging until you move your head, and then some people get motion sick, or it kind of that suspension of disbelief goes away when you start seeing the pixels or it's slowing down. So I think virtual exchange and virtual reality they are right now just kind of starting, but it might not show its true potential until the technology hurdles are overcome fully. But yeah, I was just very impressed that we had so many virtual exchange presentations. Some people had been doing it for a long time. Some people were still new, kind of fumbling on the terminology, such as coil. But it was, great to see, and I was able to learn a lot.
What was his name again?
Kazuaki Nakazawa.
Right. Okay. I check that one out.
Yeah, that's another one. Every year I look, I'm like, am I going to buy a VR headset this year for my students? Start a collection. And it's always at the end of when I've spent my budget. It's always if I have enough at the end of the year, I'll buy it, and hasn't happened yet.
How much does a decent VR headset that can be used in a program like this cost now, Rob?
So I was looking, I'm forgetting the name. The Oculus, is it the 3A? It's like the cheaper version of the 3. And I think that was Sanmanen, which isn't too bad.
That doesn't seem too bad.
I think the full one was Rokumanen. So I'm sure the cheaper version will have some of the problems that the 2 had, but some of the benefits of the 3. So I'm just going to look at that.
I can see
Brian
has his
VR.
own Oculus at home.
I think I've got the cheap one. I've got like one of the kind of early edition ones. So it's pretty basic. I've tried that. I tried the Oculus at home, like just to trial out, and I tried it with students as well. The motion sickness is one thing. Just actually the heat is another thing. Like just wearing them for like any period of time, it's quite hot. Winter
PE class activity.
Yeah, it feels as if it's a bit of a facial sauna. Hopefully they can maybe put a small fan or something like that in there.
This might be an episode for the future, but I'll be happy to interview Tony Alexa at Akodate Kosen. He presented in Nagoya, and he has extensive experience with the Quest at the Kosen. I believe he must have a dozen of them at least.
Wow.
Yeah, joining in with him is something I always consider. But Japan isn't a true virtual exchange.
Exactly.
VR. Another one for me was Naomi Fujishima and Junko Otoshi. So they did one on AI assisted writing feedback. So I teach lots of writing classes, and I went to like a number of writing. Actually, that was kind of mostly the things that I was looking for help on, and so they were trying to see about how they could like automate scoring. And it's something that Glenn mentioned in his keynote, how like students are using AI to write, and then teachers are using AI to score, and then everybody saying like, oh, but we're not getting the full human experience, and say like, well, I think we are. Like I use a calculator for doing maths. I use a spreadsheet, like for doing, like big numbers and stuff like that. So I think it's totally fine to use it as a tool. But yes, so there was a lot of tracking student performance, which was good. Reflections, I don't pay so much attention to, like how students feel. Like I just want to look at their scores. Like how much did you actually improve? There's a lot of people do like on students, like perceptions, and I'm thinking, well, everybody perceives something in their own specific way, but like you're actually, if your scores get better, your scores got better. That's more tangible, I think, for me. But they were using specifically Write and Improve, which is a good system, but I saw another presenter, I can't remember her name right now, but she was from Venezuela or originally from Vietnam, but she was doing a presentation. She did a great presentation on using different types of tools to help students improve their writing. And she was from Vietnam, but she'd lived in America, and she had funds from the American, not Chamber of Commerce, but I think it was just like the American state, that she had like some big funds to do her project, which was great to see somebody, like doing something quite big. And it was brilliant, like a Vietnamese speaker, like who was also bilingual in English too, and then living in Venezuela. I think she, like how she said her husband that she met in America, said, let's go to Venezuela. So, and then she was coming to Japan to give her presentation. So, I mean, super international. And it was really inspiring. And she was really snappy with, like presenting. I think it's really good to go and see somebody who's really fluid with her presenting. So that was a really good one. And another one was Paul Daniels did a good one on. So Paul Daniels from Kochi University, so he was doing it on Gemini and how it's analyzing speaking tasks. So Paul's actually our longest running member at large. And so we're even talking about how it would be great to have a conference down in Kochi. But I think he says that it's a beautiful, beautiful part of the country. Maybe not so close for a lot of other people, but it was definitely good to have a chat with him.
Kochi would be nice. I mean,
it's near Kumamoto, right?
It's a beautiful place. I used to live in Okayama, which is easier access to Kochi. But he's at Kochi Tech, and they have a really cool campus downtown. So that would be an amazing, amazing place, but maybe a little bit harder for people to get to. They would have to transfer from the Shinkansen in Okayama and then take the regular train through the valley.
We did that before when we had with Bruce Lander down at Matsuyama.
It was great. Yeah.
So I mean that was a long shiggly train ride all the way through Shikoku. But I mean it felt like a great adventure. And for me that was a great reason to see another part of the country that I would never have had the opportunity to do. So I think it's important that we go to these places that are not always like the easiest to get to. Because people who live in Japan maybe want to get a chance to go to some other part of Japan, so it's important for our domestic members to get.
More and more of our airports are connected to Taiwan, to Korea, so
yes,
even our international participants can come fairly easily. Not sure about Kochi, but
they have an airport. They have an airport.
Anyway,
they're also the biggest drinker in Japan. Just to say a little bit about the nightlife in Kochi is quite interesting, and they have, I think, one of the best food court I've ever seen in the country. So if the conference was to be in Kochi, there is definitely some great areas to visit and some amazing food to be eaten, and a lot of drinks, of course.
This is not an announcement for next year.
This is not an announcement for next year.
Just spitballing that. Well, so I got, of course, like food is a good point there. So of course, the hospitality at the conference, there was a lot of the feedback in our questionnaire asking people, and they said, of course, that the hospitality that we put on this year was really quite excellent. So of course, we had pretty much endless coffees and teas and hot chocolates. There was fruit platters. There were cookies. There were cakes. There was everything, and it ran
everything Costco sells.
Both days, yeah. So thank you to our team for making the efforts and going and getting the stuff and putting it on. So our small team that puts together the conference, you guys included. Without the team, none of this is going to happen. So special pat on the back for everybody for doing such a great job. And I was really happy to see there was some lovely sushi at the dinner reception, which was nice. Long may it last. Right, okay, that's all for section 2. Join us in section 3. See you after the break. This podcast is sponsored by Ego AI. Ego AI helps students reach the recommended 2,500 plus hours of intentional study with a comprehensive library of AI-generated, human proofread lessons and activities. Ego AI. Visit Ego AI today. welcome back. This is us now in section 3 on the horizon. So coming up, there's going to be some podcasts. So I mentioned before about Gordon Wilson from Shunan University in Osaka. So he'll be given a live demonstration, or recorded live demonstration of chatting with an AI and his incredibly positive outlook on blending AI into our learning and teaching. I'm going to be interviewing Gordon. I spoke to him already, and after talking to him, I just felt so positive about AI and integrating stuff. We talked about how some people are quite conservative when they're talking about it and saying like how we have to like control the AI, but he was, like really embracing it. And so after that conversation, actually my whole outlook changed. And we talked about how, like we want to have that positivity and that energy, and not to fear it. So that's coming up probably in September. So stay tuned for that. We're also going to have a vodcast on our YouTube channel of our conference keynote speaker, which was Mathias Schulze, that Geoff talked about before. So that's the video is going to be for those people who couldn't make it to the conference this year, like for the people who were planning to come but then had to cancel for some reason, and also just for other people who want to have a look back and catch more of the ideas. That's going to go out on our YouTube channel. We're also going to put out on the podcast audio of the plenary speaker, which was Glenn Stockwell. And so that's just going to be in audio form, but of course we'll try and have links to some of the parts that he talked about. And we're going to have a host of other podcasts coming up in the autumn or the fall for our American listeners. And so please have a look out for that. Autumn, of course, will be a quieter time for many of us because it's been quite hectic in the spring. So it'll be a time for everybody to focus on our own research and teaching before the JALT International conference that's coming up. So at the JALT International conference on November 1st, 2025 at 2:30 in the afternoon, myself and Geoff and Luke and Robert Dykes and Robert as well are going to be having a 1-hour workshop entitled Creating an Academic Podcast. And what we're going to try and do is we are going to try and equip everybody with the skills that they need and the knowledge, practical skills required for successfully producing an academic podcast. So specifically, we're going to try to go through our concept of why we think that a podcast is a valuable tool. We're going to try and give you some hands-on experience. We're going to actually walk you through how to use the software. We'll be using Audacity, which is free and open source, so you can download that before you come. Bring your laptop, bring your ideas, and then we're going to try and show you how to do the distribution practices. We use SoundCloud for doing it, and we're also going to try and show you how to target the audience. We're going to do it all live, and there'll be multiple chances to have a go. It's going to be very, very simple. We use very easy tools. A lot of it is very, very low cost or free, and so please come to the workshop. But before the workshop, there is going to be the JALTCALL forum, and that forum is going to be a 90-minute forum. So again, it's on November 1st, 2025. It's going to be at 11 a.m. at the National Olympics Memorial Youth Centre. We don't know the room number as yet. They've not been announced. But the speakers on the panel there are going to be myself, Brian Gallagher. There's going to be Bradley Irwin from Kyoritsu Women's University, who's our publicity chair. There's going to be Frederick Bacala, who's coming from QSIG. There's going to be Geoff Carr from Asahikawa City University, James York from Meiji University, and Robert Dykes, who of course is the conference chair. Robert Dykes is from Sojo University. He's one of the people on our podcast team. James York is one of our members at large. And Frederick Bacala, he's also a JALTCALL member, of course, and he is really pushing and running the QSIG. So he's got lots of great ideas. So that's going to be again on November 1st. 2025 at 11 a.m. So come along, bring your questions, and we'll hopefully the panel members will try to answer them for you, get engaged. So please be part of it with us, not only just come to see the show.
Since we're on the topic of JALT National, things are a little bit different this year. Normally, the TNT is an in-person activity at the JALT National on the day before. This year, it was held on August 9th with the great help of Robert Rimmerswald and Wayne Malcolm. And we had an online event that was held on Zoom, and we have a full page on Indigo that we will share in the show notes. I presented myself with Adam Jenkins on the topic of Olama and open source AI. And this is something that we want to bring over to the podcast here. It's always a very popular topic, and I hope that me and Adam and maybe other people can help you guys understand better what is open source AI. So it was a great event, and we hope that next year will be even bigger.
Just another kind of like final point there is that so presenters actually asked through different channels if it's possible to still upload their asset to the Edzilla page. So please, everybody, just remember that you can add your presentation, you can add your slides, you can add PDFs, you can add video links, you can add URLs, whatever. So please do that, because that website will stay ad infinitum. And so when you're building your digital resume or your digital portfolio, so of course those links go straight back to the page. So there's authenticity there in seeing the original web page still running. There should hopefully be no URL rot, and that'll stay on Edzilla, linked through the JALTCALL.org website. So yeah, please upload your files and your slides and your links.
And seeing as I'm the one very into virtual exchange, I wanted to bring to everyone's attention the Asia Pacific Virtual Exchange Association is having their 6th annual conference on December 6th and 7th. So the call for proposals is open till late September. You can put something in. The IVE, which we spoke about in a previous podcast, is going to have a special spotlight. You can hear exactly what other teachers have done, how they do their grading, different other things, as well as just it's open to everyone who has done virtual exchange. So there's going to be a lot of perspectives, a lot of things going on. If you've never done virtual exchange, this could be a great chance to find a partner or someone join something that's already going, like the IVE. So we'll have a link in the description. It's the Asia Pacific Virtual Exchange Association Conference. The IVE is going to have its own section for the first time ever. So because of my connection to the IVE, or IVE project, as Eric likes to call it, I'll be putting in a submission later on this week. But I am not familiar with it at all, but I'm very excited to attend for my first time.
All right, thank you guys. This has been a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Thank you.